So, hello and welcome along to another edition of Isolation Interviews for Hospital Radio and for my YouTube channel. And I'm so excited to be joined by the fantastically talented Sue Devaney. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. So, what's the weather like where you are at the minute today?
So, to be honest with you, it's a little bit overcast. It's a bit naff.
It's a bit nothing. It's a bit miserable. I know. It's not too bad, is it? We don't mind being in lockdown if the sun is shining. It's when it's like this and you just think, oh, got to drag myself around.
I mean, the one plus side, of course, is that spring is only around the corner, so we haven't got too much longer to go before it starts getting early, lighter earlier. So fingers crossed that comes around quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always hope, isn't there? There's always a bit of hope.
Now, obviously, talking about lockdown, how have you found the last year? Because, I mean, 3 lockdowns, we're in another lockdown now. I mean, how have you found the last year just coping with work stopping and all that?
I've been very, very lucky, and I count my blessings every day because in our industry, obviously, there's been less and less work with the theatres closing down, and lots of my mates, they were in the West End or they were on tour, and then all of a sudden it got, taken from under the feet. And the thing is, because we are classed as self-employed, we don't get anything. So you leave your job and that's it. But I think, it's very difficult because at times like these, you think about everybody else and you worry about the state of the world and and what's going on. And, I'm fortunate the fact that, where I live, I've got really good neighbours, really good friends. And, I haven't got lots of children that you have to homeschool and stuff like that. That must be, an absolute nightmare because, and also, people that haven't been out at all. So I often think about our industry as well. We're very used to, as a jobbing actor, you're used to not working. So you're used to your own company, you're used to twiddling your thumbs and pottering around. I'm very good at pottering. So for me, the lockdown at first was lovely because although like I had no money coming in, which was difficult, but the sun was shining and you thought, oh right, okay, this is going to last about a month, 2 months. Well, lo and behold, a year later, and it's like, right, I've had enough now. But I think as well, the difference is when you're not working, you always have your agent thinking there's going to be a phone call in a minute saying I've got an audition, and your life can change. Well, I think with this lockdown, I knew that there was nothing happening. I knew that there was very little work out there, and that's the difference. And I think I was fortunate enough the year before I did Calendar Girls, the tour. So we were on tour for a good year and with great friends, and we had a lovely time. And I'm glad that I had that experience before lockdown. And then when I was doing Calendar Girls, they invited me back to Corrie for 6 episodes, and then in the December, they said, oh, yeah, we want you back. And you start in March. Well, of course, March last year was like, no, you don't start now. So everything was up in the air. Do I start? Do I not start? And then eventually I got that phone call through in June that you are starting in July. But it was under and I was so chuffed, but it was under the kind of, well, you've never worked in those conditions before because you got to work. It was, nobody was in the offices. It wasn't the buzzing atmosphere that it was the year before. You have to film like 2 meters apart, wear your mask. There was no green room, so you couldn't sit in there. You had to go to your room. So it's a whole different experience. But luckily, I'm working and I can pay my bills. Because a lot of my mates can't at the minute.
I mean, with Coronation Street, obviously, first time round back in the 80s, you were only in it for about a year, which it seems like it was longer, but you were only in the show for a year. So when they come calling, fast forward to present day, when they come calling, did you expect it to come? Were you ever thinking you'd ever go back to that character again?
Oh my gosh, I was hoping. And I know, like, a few of my friends that work there and stuff, they were saying, "Oh, we've got to get Debbie back. We've got to get Debbie back." And of course, I've worked in a lot of the rep theatres around the north, like Bolton Octagon and the Coliseum Theatre in Oldham, which are brilliant, repertory theatres. And of course, when anybody came from ITV and they said, "Oh, you've got to get you back in Corrie," and you just think, oh, you know what? I wonder if it can happen. I wonder if it will happen. And when it did, it was amazing. And I've got a lovely friend who works at ITV, and she said, "Come." A couple of years before, I just finished a tour, just finished Mamma Mia. She said, "Come and have your lunch at ITV. Come on." So I went down and I went on set, and I went on the street and just have your picture done. So I carried this picture, right, of the Webster's garage on my laptop, I kid you not, and of me outside the garage, like with my arms like that. And I thought, I'll just put it out there, just put it that it might be able to happen. And it was brilliant. It was so brilliant. And when I got that call, to be honest, I felt very lucky, because I was in the street when I was 17, and how old am I now? 53. So it's like, oh my gosh, they used the same actress, because they could have gone, they could have, oh no, well, let's bring somebody more glam in or whatever. But it was nice that they used the same actress as well. So I feel very fortunate, yeah.
And I imagine as well that it must be, because you get a lot of these sort of actors that have been in a program when they're very young, and then they go back as an adult and they enjoy it more as an adult because they can really appreciate it more. Do you think you've enjoyed it more, and you're enjoying it more now than you did when you were first in it?
I think yes. I don't know really, because when I got the job at 16, you had no life skills really, did you? At 16, you said, "Oh, this is brilliant," and I was walking into the green room, and there was like, Julie Goodyear and Jean Alexander and all these great actors that you were brought up with. And I kind of thought, "Oh, this is brilliant." What, but of course, like, I'd never been out in the big wide world. And I think when I left Corrie the first time, I got a kids series called Johnny Briggs, and then I went into the West End, so like, Corrie at that time was my learning ground, because I never went to drama school, and I always wanted to go to drama school, but I just kept getting the work, and I thought, "Oh, I've got to take it while it's here, because it might stop," and then I did a lot of rep theatre, a lot of touring theatre, and a lot of like children's TV, which I really enjoyed, and presenting. So my life went kind of all over the shop after Corrie. And now when I come back, it's a totally different genre, and I'm so enjoying it, and I'm still finding my feet, because when I was in it, you did like 2 episodes a week, and you had a rehearsal, and then you did a producer's run, and then you had a tech run, but now it's like, get on set, say your lines, do all your work at home, but it's lovely. And I'm getting used to that fast pace now. And it is a fast pace, but I'm working with brilliant. I mean, it's lovely to be working with Mike Lavelle again. Absolutely lovely, and what's beautiful is, like, when we worked together, he was 18, I was 16. And now it's like, it's later on in life, and you go, "Oh, haven't we been through some stuff?" And here we are together again. You did your journey, I did mine, and it's wonderful. That's the wonderful thing about this business. You can be great friends with somebody, and then you might not see them for 10 years, 20 years, and then you pick up where you left off, because it's so transient, really. You do a job, and you're best of friends on that job, and then you might not see each other for a while, and it's really hard to keep in touch with everybody you've worked with. even though you had this great friendship and great relationship, I think it is tricky. So, but I think our industry is great at that, when you meet somebody again and you just pick up where, and you feel very, very connected, and it's all easy, you know. So it's wonderful, yeah. And in Corrie, when I started back, there was I worked with Mike Lavelle, Sally Carman, and Mark Frost. Sally Carman plays Abby, and Mark Frost, who plays Ray. And I've known Mark for years as well. So it was like, oh, this is wonderful, you know. It was so lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, earlier on in the series, I've had a few of the Corrie cast join me. I mean, Sally Dinover very kindly joined me for a chat, and also Shelley King, who are obviously both doing fantastic in the show at the moment. And they both said the same thing, that the program, you know, all the cast, it's like a big family. You all get on so well. It's one of the best jobs to have in TV.
Oh my gosh, it's just wonderful. And you know, it's I think as well, because you work so hard, and you know, especially if you've got a storyline, you can get like a handful of like 15 scripts to learn in 2 weeks, you know, which is, and if you're already filming a big storyline, then it's going to be, you know, so it's you know, your weekends are spent learning lines. But I think it's a lovely, lovely atmosphere, and it's a joy to go into work every day. And my niece is a makeup artist, and she's working on a Netflix series at the minute in Bristol. And she said to me, she said, you know, Sue, she said, trust you to get a lovely, wonderful job. Because I do a lot of theatre, so you do your own hair, makeup, you know, and all this business, and then you're travelling around with a suitcase, living out of a suitcase in digs and stuff, because people think that it's very glamorous touring, but if it's in this country, you've got to stay, you know, you find digs with their Mrs. Smith and her 5 cats, don't you, and stuff. You know, so my niece, Gracie, she said, oh my gosh, she said, I can't believe you've got this wonderful job, and normally, you know, you have makeup, and the makeup artists do your face, and you've got your wardrobe and all that, you know. She said you have to still go, because of course you have to do it yourself, because nobody can come near. I mean, the makeup ladies clean the brushes and do all that, and tell you what they'd like, but you have to do it yourself. So she said, Bluminek, it's like you've started and you're still doing your little rep, really, aren't you? And I said, well, to be honest, I said, I quite enjoy it, but they do have to rein me in, because I'm not used to doing panto, that I tend to want to flick a bit of glitter on every now and again. You know, but no, it's wonderful. And when I first got there, oh my gosh, they gave me this set of amazing brushes and all the makeup, and I was like a child in a candy shop, you know, and then all the brushes have your name on. I thought, oh wait, but that's because they know who it is to wash them, and you know. But I thought, oh, I've made it now. Oh, I'm happening now. I've got my own brushes with my name on.
Now, obviously, to go back for the 60th, that must be a big honour, to go back for the show's big anniversary and to be a part of one of the big storylines. So, I mean, that must have been an honour.
Yeah, it was. It was wonderful. And you know, when they said, oh, Debbie's going to come back and she's going to be in cahoots with Ray, and they want to knock down the street and build, you know, trendy apartments and all this, I thought, oh, I'm going to be hated. I'm going to be the most hated woman in Britain.
Because that's the thing with the characters, that it's hard for the audience. It's hard for them to tell whether she is being genuine or if she's, you know, because obviously she was in cahoots with, or, you know, working alongside Ray for a while. And obviously we thought he was dead. And then we found out that he wasn't. So it must be so fun to play a character that the audience don't know whether she's good or bad. Well,
this is it. And, you know, I always think that you've got to, when you're playing, even like, you know, somebody that is as bad as, like, you know, Carabosse in panto, you've got to have that thing of, there's got to be more than just a nasty side, because we're all made up of all these different emotions and different, you know, character defects, really. And I think if it's got to be more than one dimensional. And I think Debbie, you know, there's a lot going on at the moment with Debbie, because in her past, she was ruled by money, because she thought that was, you know, having money and is being, you know, money equals success. Well, and she's everything that I'm not really, you know. But it's like, she thinks that she's successful if she's got all the money in the world and she can make things happen, and she's a businesswoman. But actually, you know, she's not got family apart from a brother, and you know, her friends are the friends in business, which she can't really, you know, call her true friends. She's never had any children, and she's at that age now. And I say to a lot of the directors, you know, when they say, well, you know, what's the reason that she's doing this, she's doing that, and I think she's at a difficult age. You know, Debbie's like 50 odd, and she's realised that she's not going to have kids, and what's it all about? You know, some certain points in your life you think, oh, am I leading the right life? Is this the life for me? Do I really want to be like this? And it's only, you know, you can go through life, but if you keep looking outwards, you never, I think the whole point of this journey that we've got is to discover who we are and look, you know, go within, as they say. And I think that's what Debbie's doing now. She's thinking, it's all, you know, some people put on a big front, don't they? It's all a big front. I will show the world what I want the world to see. But actually, they're miserable inside because they're not living the true, authentic selves. And I think Debbie's a little bit like that at the minute. She's going through menopause, but I don't tell many people that. You know, which causes you to do, you know, hormones are flying all over the shop. So I think that's why she does what she does, and she thinks, she doesn't purposely lie, I don't think. She does it like, oh, I'll if I do that, then that's for the good of everybody else. You know.
And of course, recently she just had a near miss with death, obviously in the freezer. So, what was that like to film? I imagine it wasn't actually cold in there, or was it?
Oh no, but don't even go there, because, I mean, me and Mike were in the freezer for 3 days, and the set was great, you know, but it was like quite claustrophobic, and obviously we had to put more and more layers on. So I were having me hot sweats, me. So I was thinking, oh, you know, but I suppose it's that thing of like, you feel a bit uncomfortable, so that's all right, because, you know, you're still doing your acting that you should be doing, but at the same time, I mean, literally, I was dripping, and every time we stopped, I was like taking my layers off again, you know. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is obviously you're pretending to be cold.
More and more layers. Yeah. But Mike Lavelle does the best freezing acting ever, the best cold acting, and I had to keep like, I had to think, right, so you're in a freezer and it's really, really cold. If it's really, really cold, because I'd be going, say my lines, and I think, oh, no, I should be freezing. But the makeup was great, you know. It's like the makeup, and actually, it's just that feeling of being so uncomfortable that you're trapped in somewhere. And I know what, you know, because I hate the cold. Like my hands and my feet get really, really cold. So, you know, it's like, oh, you just can't even speak sometimes when you're so cold, can you? So it was like finding that, you know. Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing as well is that when you have those sorts of scenes where, you know, you could die, you're thinking probably as well, I don't want to leave, you know, you've just come back. So, you know, obviously the fact that she hasn't died, we can say, it must be, you must be excited for what's to come in the future.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Very much so. And I think, you know, it's like anything, isn't it? You want to get the chance to make a character all that she can be. But so if you've got 3 months to do that, or 2 weeks to do that, or, you know, a year to do that, or 10 years to do that, you just, there's so much you can get out of a character. And if it's written well, but it's all the twists and turns and I think that's what's great about soaps, because you can go through so many different emotions, whereas, you know, in a play, you are a character and you've got a beginning, middle, and end. But with a soap, you think, oh my gosh, she's dealing with that now. She's dealing with that, and the writers deal with very, topics that just you can really get your teeth into, and things that happen in daily life, and illnesses and death, and but you never know on a soap, because the thing is, 1 minute you can be running the shop, and next minute you can be under a tram. You've just got to go with it. I think you've just got to go with it. Yeah.
Now, the other thing we must talk about is the role of Jane in Dinner Ladies, because that was an amazing show. And I mean, I was talking to Kate Robbins the other day about it, and it's one of those shows that it felt like it went a lot longer than it actually did, because it was only 2 series, but it feels like it ran for a lot longer.
Well, I think that were like faulty toast, because I said to my friend, we were talking to my friend about it the other day, and she said, it was only 2 series. I said, yeah, it was, because I think the first series we did we do 7 episodes, and the second series we did 10. Yeah, and that was it. So, it was one of those jobs where you think, when you're working with such wonderful people, and you think, I'm going to soak it all up, and I'm going to learn as much as I can. And you do, but it's only afterwards that you think, how amazing was that? To walk into a room and have all those legends in a room. Incredible, yeah. And I mean, wonderful working with Vic. Absolutely.
I was going to say, I mean, obviously the amazing Victoria Wood, who obviously wrote the show, and I mean, you must be honoured to have been asked to do that show, and yeah, like you say, working with her, but obviously you're probably learning as well at the same time from all these amazing actors.
Absolutely, yeah. And any time afterwards, because I worked with her again. She's very loyal. She was very loyal, and I worked with her again in Housewife 49. We did a stage version of it, and any time that because I love my writing, and I'd send it off to Victoria, and within a week she'd send it back and comment on it, and what I could improve it, and that's amazing. That for somebody like her with very little time, because she's so busy doing what she does, to put that effort into somebody that is I'm not a professional writer, but it's like putting that effort in was just amazing. Yeah. And but it was brilliant. It was so, I mean, just the experience of doing it, and having all those people, especially like it was, I always talk about this episode, like bring your parents to work day, and there was like Thora Hird and Eric Sykes and all the wonderful actors. It's just brilliant. But my very first job was in Loving Memory with Thora Hird when I was 14, and I bumped into her a couple of times after then, and she always remembered me. So I thought that was so sweet, But she was wonderful, yeah.
And I mean, obviously playing the character, did you ever get people that would quote back the breakfast order to you? Because obviously that was
absolutely all the time. 12 rounds of white low fat spread. Yeah, they go, can you say that? But 12 rounds of white low fat spread. Yeah.
And then,
and all the lines that, can you spread them for Tony, and so, yeah, but sometimes they shout it and go, get 9 rounds of white, and I go, no, that's not right.
Now, I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You're a fantastic guest to have on. But before we go, is there any messages you'd like to give to anyone who is stuck in hospital at the moment, or to any of the amazing NHS staff out there?
Oh, yeah. Just, keep your pecker up, chin up, and it's going to be fine. And we will get through this. And all those wonderful NHS staff, you're doing a fantastic job. And you're just amazing. You're absolutely incredible, and thank you so much for working so hard as well. And just hope you get well soon, and sending lots and lots of love.
Thank you so much, Sue. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Of course, keep safe and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, and you. Thanks, Matty. Thank you.